Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I am here with Sam the Man, ready to go over Man United 1, Aston Villa 0. First of all, Sam, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. I've just let you know backstage. I'm sick as a dog. Actually, I hope my voice keeps going throughout. But we've got to give the people what they want, and they want a pod.
Yes, definitely have. We've got Villa TV wanting to join. I will post the link out in a second, mate. Yeah, so feel free to jump on and give your thoughts. We'll go through the game, but yeah, I will post the link in a second. So let me see if I can do it now. But yeah, I mean, obviously, actually, before we get into the game and all that, please do hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button and comment on anything that you thought about today. And you know the 10-game run has come to an end, unfortunately. 10-game unbeaten run. But you know, what do you think about Europe? Are we feeling the pinch now? Is the pressure starting to come on board? We've talked about the squad a couple of times on this pod. I will get your thoughts on that as well, Sam. But yeah, and also if you do want to join the channel, we've got our membership open. So please, if you want to join the channel for $1.99 a month, that's all less than a pint. I mean, a pint's about £6 now, so it's about a third of the cost of a pint. To join the channel, support us with all of our shows, become an official Villa Park Pod follower. We've had 3 joins so far. That is Papa and Maboya, Scrumped and Rachel Lewis. So thank you all for joining. If anyone does, hit that $sign and you can join, or I think there might be a join button now on the channel. So please do that. Lee said he's here early tonight for some emotional support from the lads and lasses. Yeah, and Rachel, our member, see that little sticker there? Yes, Lee, a cathartic session. Gary said, hi guys, we're starting to look leggy, but surely any more injuries and that's it for the top 7. Yeah, I'll get your thoughts again, Sam, on that, because I know you had a couple of comments on that. And Michael, good evening, mate. Yes, we lost, but I want to say that many people were saying we were going to win. This is a huge change in the mindset of the fans, so please don't beat yourself up tonight. Absolutely. So I'll get Bailey in as well. Welcome to the channel, mate. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for
Good,
having
mate.
me on.
Good. Yeah, no problem at all, man. No problem at all. Sam, I'll come to you first. Just general thoughts on the game, and you know, ultimately coming up short against United.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of them. I watched United and Spurs play their last game, and when watching both of them, I thought it's a great time to play United and Spurs, because I reckon we could beat both of them sort of when we were at our best and playing playing how we've been playing. But I think today we just kind of lacked something that maybe we've lacked for the last few weeks, but we've been getting away with. But I think we just never really looked like doing much damage at the United end. I felt like, as Michael said, we're a bit leggy. I felt you can see in the players that lack of rotation is starting to drain them with the amount of games that we've got on at the moment. And I think as well, we'll go into more detail about it later, but I think that the lack of urgency as well was really showing. And it's not, for want of a better word, lack of a plan. It's trying to implement the plan, but taking too long to do it.
Yeah. You know, I was getting quite frustrated with a lot of the ball sort of retention, ball retention for one from certain players, and giving the ball away from others, which is not a great combination. Bailey, I'll come to you. What were your sort of general thoughts on sort of coming up short against United?
Yeah, we were shocking today, to be fair. I think first half, I think Man U played really well. They wanted to, of course, get the 3 points to try and get this top 4. So I think there was a better team. Second half, I think we came out fighting, but we still just couldn't get a goal today. And yeah, I think the loss had to come at some point. Someone had to beat us, because our unbeaten one was just mad. And of course, Old Trafford is a hard place to go to. just like Villa Park. But yeah, I think we didn't play well today, but hopefully, of course, Manu, of course, are playing okay at the minute. And I think Bruno Fernandes, I think they was really good at defending as well today. We did have, of course, one chance in the first half, what went straight at David De Gea from Alex Moreno. But I think probably the best player today was Alex Moreno again. But again, I don't think no one was good today.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. Like Sam, it was a bit of a. I guess it showed that we was like, I know we've had lots of games in a row. We've had a real plan in a lot of the games, but that was a game where both teams weren't fantastic, but they had a couple of match winners in their side, and it just showed a little bit where we're slightly lacking with that player that can do something that little bit different, or I don't know, just that little bit of extra quality. Because I felt like we huffed and puffed, particularly that second half, and we just couldn't really get anything really going.
Yeah, and I think for Villa and Villa's recent success, I mean, you talk all about the goal streak of Ollie Watkins and the good form of John McGinn going forward, but I think all of our success over these 10 games has restarted from the back. For today, what was it? 3 goals conceded. Now it's 4 in the last 10, 11. That's since Feb as well. 4 goals conceded since Feb, including the goal today. And I feel like we've been got out of jail a couple of times by Konsa and Mings, but also Emi Martinez. He's been on fire, and I know today there were a couple of 1v1s with Rashford, and United did make those opportunities. It didn't have to just be one for them, but for some smart goalkeeping from Emi Martinez. So I feel like that's part of our game where everything's kind of gone our way recently in this run, which things have to go on a 10 beaten unbeaten run. But yeah, you're right. I think game changer when everything's going well and the whole team is clicking and on form, then we win games. But if you have a game like today, where, like you say, there's no one who's gonna grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I don't know if you just saw that Liverpool Spurs game, but at 3-0 down, Harry Kane pulls one back, tidy finish, and it just kind of puts a bit of impetus in it, but puts in a bit of something in the game. And someone like Ollie Watkins has obviously been in fantastic form. For me, doesn't strike me as a guy to get that goal when we're behind and then pick the ball up and run back to the halfway line. I don't really feel like we've got a character like that.
No, I agree. Like, he's not gonna. I mean, not that Harry Kane does many sort of from 25 yards, but they've got a Son and a Kane who can do that. Man United have obviously got a Bruno, as much as we don't like him, who can do something like that. And a Rashford who can do something like out of nothing. Whereas, yeah, you're right. Watkins needs a supply. He's not going to pick the ball up from, midway inside the. I think there's only that Brighton game that was Gerrard's first, where he did something like that. I can't really remember anything else where he's done that. He's got on the end of crosses, obviously brilliantly. He's kind of picked up the ball in the inside channel and beat a man and put it in. But yeah, we just haven't quite got that player. Maybe Bertrand Traore has done that a couple of times, but not against the quality of a Man United, and that's the difference, isn't it? And
I think it's not even just scoring that type of goal, but I think even just like progressing with the ball, taking a few players on, getting the crowd charged, getting the rest of the team up for that fight. I mean, I think for the first half we were pretty feeble, and in the second half I think we gave a bit more back. But I wouldn't say we looked toothless, but we never looked like we were going to go in and put loads and loads of pressure, and it was inevitable that we were going to score. And it's we're sat here sort of clutching our heads, going, how did we not get one there? It was kind of predictable that we weren't gonna get one today, and definitely not going to get 2 or 3 to win the game.
Yeah, Bailey. I was going to say, with regards to that, what Sam's just said there, it was only ever going to be one goal. It looked like that we were going to get back in, that we were going to get if that, and obviously we didn't, maybe off a set piece or something like that. We certainly didn't look like we were going to score 2 or 3, and be free scoring like we have been in 1 or 2 games previously.
Yeah, I agree. I think we let first goal in since Unai has came in. I think we've only let 1 goal in now. Yeah, I think I've been saying for a while. I think we should start Duran and give him a run out with maybe Watkins, because I think Duran, when he came off the bench against City and that, I think he's been running, and that what a striker needs to do. I think Watkins sometimes is a bit lazy, like most strikers, of course. But yeah, I think Duran is a class striker. But yeah, I think today we could have scored 2 or 3. To be fair, I think second half we was, of course, the better team. Not through all of it, but through most of the second half. But we just couldn't score today. And Emery, I think the goal what we let in from Bruno Fernandes, I think what was Mings doing, what was Conser doing, why did you let him run like that? Mings just watched and let him run past him. What Mings have been a class centre back this season, let's be real. And yeah, of course, he puts it in the goal, and of course it has to be Bruno Fernandes who
Yeah,
actually hates Aston
yeah,
Villa.
yeah.
But yeah, I think we could have scored 2 or 3 today, but unfortunately our unbeaten run came to the end, and hopefully beat the Dingles next week. I just hope we beat them.
Yeah, nice one. Well, Bailey, thank you for jumping on, mate. I'm gonna jump on with carry on with Sam, but yeah, if anyone else wants to jump on, please do. But yeah, thanks a lot, mate, and up the Villa. Cheers, man.
Cheers, Bailey. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I think just touching on what Bailey said, I think obviously with Watkins, we know that he's been instructed specifically not to run as much as he was doing before, and to be more focused in the channels. And I think it's worth saying before we kind of like, just go through that one game to kind of reflect and just say, hold on, we've been on a 10-game unbeaten run in the Premier League and climbed up, and we're sitting here talking about Premier League. And I think a lot of people might see the analysis and go, how are they slagging off X, Y, and Z? And it's not about that. I mean, the podcast is here to, to break down the game and to give opinions on that. And it's not a criticism on Unai Emery. It's not a criticism on any of the players individually, who have all been fantastic. And I honestly feel like played to the best of their ability since Unai Emery came in. Really, it's been really impressive stuff. So bear that in mind and say, like, fair play to the players today. Obviously, it wasn't our day, but and we can kind of pinpoint, and what we're trying to do is try and pinpoint why it wasn't our day and kind of what went wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I think, like you said about Watkins, and we'll talk. Actually, we'll go through some comments first, then we'll talk on some players, because I know you had, I know you've got a couple of views on 1 or 2 players. As I say, constructively that we want to talk about. Michael said he's not getting an option to join. He's commented below he's on an iPhone. Rachel, I know you've joined. I don't know if you can pop in the chat how you can join. From on my phone, you click on the $sign. And it brings up either super chat, super sticker, or membership, and you click that, and then it takes you through. So if you can help Michael in any way, or anybody else, please just pop it in the chat. Adamski says cutting edge. Yeah, we've talked there. It was huffing and puffing a little bit, and it's what we've done to other teams. This, what we did to Fulham the other night. They didn't have any cutting edge. We just got 1-0 up and won the game. That's what happens sometimes. So it's certainly not panic stations or anything like that. Adamski says, Hale had to come to an end. Really proud of the lads, and especially Unai for the 10-game run, 100%. Faz says, of all the people to score, it had to be that cheating. You know what? Yeah, we'll talk. I'll get your opinions on Bruno as well, mate. We have to have that full zing and brightness we had against Newcastle to win in the likes of today's fixtures. Yeah, and maybe it was just one fixture too far. This top 7 lark is not as easy as I thought. Don't know what we have to do now. What do you think? Yeah. I'll save that question a little bit for later. Looking tired these last 2, says Lee. AVFC US says, deserved or not, we could have had a point today. Yeah, we definitely could. Definitely could. Let's have a look. What else have we got? I'll save that question for in a second. AVFC US would have been nice if Liverpool could have helped us with Tottenham's goal difference. It certainly looked that way earlier on. Lee said, need players that can remind the rest of the good stuff we are capable of. I'll come back to that, Gary. Adamski says, try go. Oh, no, we've got that. Luca AFC, hey, hello, mate. You're live as well. Good man. Okay, mate. So, Duncan's in the house, evening all. Thank you for jumping on, mate. Great to have you on board. So yeah, I just wanted to talk on a couple of players. So first of all, Buendia is getting a lot of chat at the minute, on particularly on this chat. But we talked about him on the previous game against Fulham, where throwing his arms up in the air, he's getting a bit angry with Watkins, and what are your thoughts on him? Is it a case of just too many games in a row that he needs a bit of freshening up, or are we kind of seeing like the plateauing of an Emi Buendia at the moment?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's leggy, for sure. I mean, they all are. We don't have the depth because of injuries and because we just lack depth in general to do the kind of rotation that we need to do. And I don't think he's plateaued in terms of his ability. I think there's more to come out of him, but I don't know what Unai Emery can do different to get more out of him. There's more in there as a player, and we've seen that in the past, and not just with Norwich in the Championship at a different level, but with Norwich in the Premier League as well. We've seen him at a certain level, and his stats when he was in the Premier League for Norwich, he was at the top of every stat list, and he was playing brilliant football. And I don't think he's not like he's had a massive injury and his way of playing has changed. I don't have the answer for Emi Buendia. I would like to see someone else kind of challenging him for that shirt. The throwing the arms up in the air, I'm not really that fussed about it. Obviously, it's not great mentality, but it's not. I don't think he does that all the time. And the ball, he does play a lot of balls in for Watkins that don't come off for one reason or other, either his fault or Watkins. And I think a lot of the time, when the ball goes up to Watkins to hold it up, and Emi Buendia is making that run. I think sometimes he doesn't either get the ball or, Watkins' first touch isn't great. So I can see why he'd be annoyed, and I think it's, harshly on it. But I think you're right. There's something. I think he's been very good, but in terms of end product like goals and assists for where he's playing, you'd want to see more of that. But I think in general he links the play really well, and he retains the ball and he spreads the ball really well. So my biggest issue with this team is not Emi Buendia. I don't have a massive issue with anyone, but Emi Buendia, I think he's been playing fine. Not great, but he's been doing well enough.
Yeah. Shout out to Duncan, who's become a member of the channel. Thank you so much, mate. It is much appreciated. Massive shout out to you, and you are now officially Villa Park Pod follower. So brilliant, mate. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of those with Emi. I think, like you say, he's one of those creative players who plays on. If he sees the pass, he's generally one touch, then pass, one touch, then pass, one touch, then pass, and sometimes it's brilliant. When he plays, but when he plays players through, there's just times where I feel like he receives the ball with his back to goal, which can only take him one direction. It only takes him backwards, and then I think that then sometimes like the player's already on him. If he received the ball a bit more on the half turn, I think his body position would be in a better position to kind of set the play up. I don't have, like you said, I don't have a particular problem with him in any way. I think you've got to have those creative players, and he's almost like the icing on top of the cake when we are playing brilliantly. And then, all of the things that Emi Buendia does, chasing around, harrying, they become brilliant. And then, getting on the ball quickly and being busy are brilliant. But then when we're in a game like today where it's a little bit more of a dogfight, we're stretched for the ball. When he's trying his kind of one touch and two touch passing, if it doesn't come off, then we're automatically on the back foot because or we haven't got the players in and around him to kind of compensate for maybe him giving the ball away. So it becomes a bit of a double-edged sword.
I agree, but I think if we're going to start, not that this is a talking tactics show, which are far more informative than anything I'm going to bring up, but I think if you look at Unai Emery's style, one thing I've noticed, and we might as well get into it now if we're going to start talking about styles of play, is obviously we've discussed the playing round the back. I think there's no debate amongst Villa fans as to whether it works, but there is debate as to whether they like seeing it or whether it's their kind of preferred style of football. So from what I can gather from Unai Emery's Villa is don't make 50-50 passes. If you're not sure it's going to come off, don't do it. And that's why you see the ball when Emi Buendia receives the ball, either with his back towards goal or on the half turn, he normally plays it back, and it's a lot of safe passing, which is why our possession stats are so high. But then what you get is the most touches of the ball and the most passes are between Emi Martinez, Tyrone Mings, and Ezri Konsa. So if Buendia is going to play his style of football with his back towards goal, he's going to give it and then go and receive it. Or we talk about his one assist, his one assist this season. I think that's his stat. I might be wrong, but I think he's only got one assist this season. But if he's not,
it might be two now because he got one against Brentford.
Yeah, maybe because the first one was JJ, and then obviously so he's got this a manager who doesn't want him to play those kind of 50-50 through balls where they might come off, they might not. And I feel like you take away a big part of his game when you do that, because
I agree, mate.
He's a bit of a risky player. Some people call him a luxury player now, but if he's being instructed specifically, do not lose the ball, I'd rather you go back than try something that may or may not come off. He's the kind of player that thrives on a flip of a coin. So yeah, it's easy to criticize Buendia, and I'm not saying that Unai Emery's made him a worse player. His system works because we went 10 unbeaten, but I'm saying some players don't thrive in that system.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go through some comments. So Tottenham showing signs of life, but they can still be Spursy, and Brighton has a crowded run-in. We can still do this. We need to beat Tottenham and Brighton, though. Absolutely. And Liverpool probably as well. Lee said we need an alternative Emi Buendia so we can mix things up and give him competition. I'll come to that in a second, mate, about the players coming back. Tottenham still have us and Brentford, says AVFC US. Gary said the lads need ice baths for a couple of days off rest at least. Unai needs to chill out as well. He's a workaholic. I don't think he will, though, to be honest. I don't think he will.
Not until the season's done. He's working on pre-season.
Yeah, exactly. Emery has worked wonders with Dean Smith's squad plus Moreno. Basically, next season will be very interesting, says Duncan. So what about Ollie Watkins? Because as I say, he's played brilliantly. I think it was 10 goals inside 12 games. We know he's kind of that type of striker. Goes on, runs of games where he does score, and then, unfortunately has runs where he's not scored. I don't think he's scored in 3 games now. Didn't really have a chance today. I guess I know you mentioned before about him kind of being instructed to not do as much in terms of the run and stay within the width of the bet box, which has made him better. But I felt like today he was back to just kind of chasing shadows a little bit today, and like the couple of times where he did get involved in the play, there was a move in that I think it might have been the second half where he flicked it. Ball came in, Cruyff flicked it to someone, and then went through. I just felt like if he'd have stuck to that part of it and had less touches and less running about, but more effective, he would have been better. But he just went back to just chasing the ball around and ultimately just got frustrated again.
I feel like that Jose Mourinho meme that, the whole if I speak, like that's what I feel like with Ollie Watkins, because I'm constantly being I constantly get called out for talking about Ollie Watkins, and I mean, I put my chips on the table. You can disagree with me if you like. I love Ollie Watkins. I love how hard he tries, and the run that he's been on has been fantastic. He is a bit of a purple patch merchant. He does this. He goes on great runs. This particular run has lasted longer than any of his other ones, and the form that he found in that purple patch was incredible. I think, like you say, today he was kind of back to bad habits. There are a couple of times where I think over the last few months he's been quite central, and he's been really, really good at receiving the ball, feeding it off, and bringing other players into play, and then turning around. I think quite a few times today he was, he was on the left. He was very close to Jacob Ramsey, and I don't know. I felt like he wasn't really in the game, and I think a few times where the ball did come into his feet, a poor first touch let him down. He lost the ball quite a few times. I was unimpressed with his performance, obviously, and this is why I've been banging on about Cameron Archer for 2 seasons now. I think he's such a good option. For example, today, Ollie Watkins, he's not cutting the mustard. He's ineffective, and I think that's the exact wording I used on our WhatsApp group. He was ineffective today, and he's been ineffective for a couple of games. So change him out for a kind of more of a bulldoggy, more of a clinical finisher, one chance, one goal type striker who maybe doesn't have the kind of endeavour that Ollie Watkins has in other parts of the pitch. So I love Ollie Watkins. I saw a rumour today that he was being linked with Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich, yeah, I don't know.
And my opinion is, and I said it before to you all today, and I'll say it again to the masses watching at home. I'd sell him for the right money. I would sell Ollie Watkins for the right money. It'd have to be big money, but I still feel like there's an improvement to be made in that position.
Well, if hypothetically, right? Hypothetically, if Tammy or an Ivan Toney is available and you can bring back Cameron Archer, you've then got a big striker who can play up top on his own, and then you've got a finisher who is fast and can get in behind and is arguably a better finisher than an Ollie Watkins. So you're going to get 50, 60, 70 million from Ollie Watkins. You bring Cameron Archer back, and then you get Ivan Toney or Tammy Abraham.
I agree. I mean, Ivan Toney.
That's not throwing any shade at Ollie Watkins, by the way, because I would happily keep him. Like, it's just hypothetical.
I would keep him, but I just don't feel like Ollie Watkins can be our number one striker. And I know we brought in Danny Ings to do exactly that, and it didn't really work out. Which is why I think Ollie Watkins kind of thrives being the only option, but Villa doesn't thrive with him being the only option. Obviously, it has recently. It's a stupid thing to say, but I think in the long term, if we want to be consistently playing like this, and we want to start competing for the Champions League and for Europe consistently, you can't wait for an Ollie Watkins purple patch. So I'm exactly with you. I'd get Ivan Toney if he's there to be got, and I'd bring back Cameron Archer, and I'd play that. I'd play that system. I'd love to hear what everyone thinks in the chat, and I will read all the comments on this topic because I really want to know if I'm the only one who thinks this. Do you think that Ollie Watkins is as good a striker as Villa can get? Do you think that there is no better that we can do? Start of next season, summer transfer window, say we make Europe. Is Ollie Watkins that finished article that the Villa fans want or not? Or am I missing something? I don't know.
He's always one player who really does try and improve, and he constantly tries to improve. That's one great thing about him. So there may be that there is more improvement in him, but I just feel that Archer's got something, that things that they say you can't coach. I just feel like he's got that in him, like, just being it, knowing where to be, ruthless finishing. He's had those years in the Championship. I think he could be a real asset for us in the Premier League next season. And loads of comments here saying, Mark says not having a second striker is huge. We could have changed to playing Ollie wide with another centre forward through the middle. Gary saying apparently Archer may be available for 20 million. I'd rather sell the loanees and keep Archer, 100%. What have we got here? But Gaza's joining us. Says better wingers make Ollie a far better player. To be fair, Duncan thinks Watkins would be our wide left long term.
But is he that guy though? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Left wing, is he super pacey? Is he great at taking a man on? This is the thing. We asked if Faz there said, is he a true number 9? Probably not. Is he a true winger? Probably not. And I think
Adam's saying if we're supposedly a European team, we should be aiming for better, but wanting better and actually better at different things. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, but we got to go. Like, I think Europe will help us. Europe would really help us. Rub P says Watkins would also need some help. That's the thing. Playing 90 minutes every game as a lone striker, he needs a break too. That's the thing as well. Definitely. One thing I did want to touch on regarding it, still regarding the game, is the fact of the squad and the lack of options to come through. And a few people have said that, we when we talked about Buendia, Adam saying too much is put on Buendia. We lack creativity. Mark says he thinks we're missing Coutinho to change it up. It frustrates the hell out of me. He gets knocked off the ball too easily, but he has got that creativeness. Adamski said, imagine if Coutinho can come good for the last few games, could be surprised in the difference. But yeah, I mean, with the likes of Coutinho, Bailey, Cash, Kamara, 4 players that would arguably start. They're huge misses, aren't they now? And it is coming. I mean, the fact that we've gone 10 games unbeaten without these players, for a huge chunk of it, is testament to what the players have done and what Unai Emery's done. But we need these players back as soon as possible, because it's just telling, like, with making changes off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, you've got to give credit to the players. They've been brilliant without these players for so long. And now that we've lost a game, we can't, do a Yui and start calling them out. I think sometimes it's a game, it's a couple of games too much for certain players. Ashley Young is brilliant, but people keep targeting us down that left, down our right side. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's, and look, he's 38 years old.
Nearly 37, nearly 38, sorry.
Nearly 38. I'm 32 and I can't walk upstairs without my legs going. So I feel him. He's done brilliantly. And I think, 100. Look, I'm not expecting Bailey to come back and do much. I'm not expecting Coutinho to come back and do much. I think Kamara will make a big difference. I think Cash will make a difference in just that kind of energy. But I would argue that Ashley Young's a better defender than Cash. I think he's a better footballer. He just doesn't have the facility anymore to do it. But I think this is why the summer's so important. And, the comments said it all. Watching Callum Chambers come on, it's tough. It's a tough watch. He's not great. And Kazza, give me a what is that?
Yeah, you come back on the pod after a few weeks off and you're getting insults already.
To be fair, I was expecting loads more insults for my views on the team and Ollie, so I'll just take that one. I look knackered. I'll put it down to being ill, but I think we lack depth. Even if with those players back, with those 4 players back, we've got players like Coutinho and Bailey who arguably have had a chance and not cut the mustard. I'm going to start ignoring Gaza now because he's hurt my self-confidence. Coutinho and Bailey possibly not going to make a massive impact when they come back. I think Matty Cash as a right back is a player that I would like to improve on. He's one of them. I think he's very similar to Luca Dean. We looked at Luca Dean and thought, well, do we really need an upgrade? He's a really good left back. And then we got Moreno and we were like, oh, okay, I get it. And that's what we'll do with Matty Cash as well. So I'd say Kamara is the only one who really comes back in and next season still has his place after the performances this season. So, we need depth. And obviously Traore, Duran, I mean, not for me. I don't know what you think.
Not yet. Yeah, I mean, Traore, like I say, I mean, he's won us 2 games, pretty much with his 2 goals, but you're asking a lot for him to come on and do that, as I said earlier, against the Man United, and at any point else throughout this season, if he maybe contributes, make an assist in the goal or maybe another goal, then fantastic. He's done what he's been brought in to do.
His contribution's already worth bringing him back.
Exactly.
6 points that he got us. If we do get into Europe, we're invaluable, and he can rest easy in the summer, saying, "Look, I did my job because I won 2 games and I got 6 points." So
exactly.
And I love Traore in the same way that I love Ollie Watkins. Players like Jacob Ramsey. I feel like Jacob Ramsey needs to drop down to the bench. I think we need to bring in someone with more quality and give JJ something to work towards. And I love Jacob Ramsey, and I don't want to see him leave.
I thought he had a good second half actually today. I thought he got a bit between his teeth. Yeah,
he did his little jig and he got past a couple of players, but it's the kind of like endeavor you need to see from him over 90 minutes.
Absolutely, and also just have a shot at the end of it, or
I think he did, and it got deflected, went out for a corner. But he doesn't.
Oh yes, that was the great move. That was a really good move.
He doesn't do it enough, and I think the problem is with JJ is he does this over patches, and he has brilliant moments, and I think he needs consistency. And there's too many games where he's gone quiet and he's not contributing with a goal or an assist, and I think he's so young. I think we forget how old this kid is. He's just starting out, and I think bringing someone else in that he can rotate with, especially if we're in Europe as well. Because if we're in Europe, we'll need to add a lot of numbers if we want to If we want to compete in the Premier League and in Europe, we cannot do it on this squad. It would be impossible. We'd fail in both, and we'd end up 15th next season, and we'd go out in Europe. So
yeah,
we need additions, big additions.
Yeah, 100%. Some more comments coming in. Rich says, sorry I'm late. Don't worry, mate. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you on again, mate. Duncan just saying our squad will be on a different level next season. Yeah, I do think we'll bring players in. Michael, we just need to support the boys we have at the moment and then the summer address where we are short.
Yeah.
AVFC US, Traore was in today until he got pulled back. Who knows what could have happened? Yeah, I mean, I think that was very late on in the game. It would be a sickener if we don't get Europe because we would probably win it and qualify the year after, even with the top six backfiring. Where's this?
He does have a record in
yeah. We need to beef up the squad anyway. It doesn't mean we need to get rid of our current players. Just getting a larger squad will allow for rotation, which is key for performance, even individual performance. Yeah, well, at the moment the players are kind of running on fumes. Hopefully a week off and a couple of players come back. I think someone mentioned maybe 2 players are back in full training as of this week, so they could be back for Saturday against Wolves. So that'll be good.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk on the goal. Before we talk on that, guys, please hit that like button. Help continue to grow the channel. Helps us. We get comments all the time from people saying that they've only just stumbled across the channel and they really like what they're seeing and they've subscribed. So honestly, you hitting that like button helps spread the word of the channel. So please do. We're very, very close to 1,400 subscribers. So that'd be great to hit that in the next couple of days. Hit the subscribe button if you're just joining us, if you're just new, and if you do want to become a member, like Duncan's done tonight, like Rachel done, and like a couple of others have done already. Please, I know there's a couple of issues there, but I'm pretty sure if you click the $sign, you can click membership, or there might be an option next to subscribe to join. So yeah, please do, and it's only $1.99 a month. As I said before, a third of the cost of a pint to help support your favorite Villa podcast. What more could you want?
Hashtag get Sam a new camera. Come on.
Yeah, and get Sam a new camera. This is not
working. This is why I look
green screens, all that stuff. Yeah,
I look 40 because the camera quality is bad.
Yeah, that's what you said.
With your support.
I knew that. I know Bailey mentioned it before, but we haven't really analysed it properly. Obviously, this man scored, Bruno, and gave a little bit of a celebration in front of the Villa fans. Just stood there, just winding them up. I mean, I actually quite like that, to be fair, but I don't like him as a player, and it would have to be him that scored. But I'll put in the chat, is there anything there that you would say that Emi Martinez could have done a little bit better with the Rashford shot? I think once Bruno's hit it, and it's took a couple of deflections, I think it's very difficult, but could he have palmed it away a bit further?
I mean, let's just start with the basics. I hate that guy. I hate him as a person. Like, personally, I don't like him. I think he's the biggest rat. He just bothers me. And I saw a stat today from I think it was AVFC Stato that Bruno scored 7 goals against Villa, which is more than any other club in his whole career. So maybe that's why we hate him. Yeah, he's a rat. He's an absolute rat, and I can't stand him. I've seen it. Obviously, we've seen a goal back. I think Emi Martinez was asked after the game what was the difference between the two teams today, and he said a deflection. So I'm guessing that he didn't get as clean a contact on it because he felt like there was a deflection on the way. That's his reasoning for it. Who are we to argue with the World Cup winning goalkeeper? So
no, yeah.
He said there was a deflection. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. I actually think, other than that, only Adam said there, Bruno hating, but he's great, consistent and class player.
No, we don't have
And
none of
Rugby says four pens he's probably had against us, and he certainly missed a few as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rachel said it's always him is what annoys her as well. And then Rich said just had to be him. I knew it as soon as I seen his name on the team sheet.
I heard he was in crutches last week.
Yeah, he was.
I saw
Yeah,
him in crutches and a boot on his foot, and I was like,
he had a protective boot, and then he played the last 2 games.
he was taking the piss out of us. Then he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. But yeah, that was. I mean, I don't actually think he did a huge amount in the game. To be fair, I mean he pressed quite well, and they looked to get beyond our high line quite a lot.
A lot, yeah.
But was there anyone in the United team that really impressed you today, and you thought they were really good?
Yeah, Casemiro.
Yeah,
changes the dynamic for that United team, and he actually, with him playing there, he allows Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes to play a whole different game. He's Casemiro is. I remember when he came in, Roy Keane said that he was a poor player whose career has been made to look better by better players around him at Real Madrid. He's so wrong.
Why would you say something like that?
He's only won 5 Champions League, Rich. He had nothing to do with it. Yeah, Casemiro's quality. He's just. There's nothing to say about him. He's a wall. He reads the game brilliantly. He fouls when he needs to foul. He does smart things like that. The ball had come back, and I don't know who it was. He booted it off John McGinn or something like that, and it went out for a throw. And he's just intelligent. He just gets it.
Yeah, and he
Casemiro
did.
Was great.
Yeah, a few times where Ramsey was trying to run through, and he just blocked him off. Just get on the weights, Jake.
Different level of baller. Casemiro.
Yeah.
World class player. You don't see many of them.
No, and I thought in the first half, I thought Eriksen was good, like obviously with that partnership with Casemiro. But second half, I think he died out of it. Sancho gave Young a tough game, but I don't think Sancho got around him too many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Casemiro, he was definitely the class act on the pitch, and just showed, maybe if we'd have had a Kamara in there today, it might have been a bit more. We might have been a bit more sort of confident on the ball with our ball retention. But like you say, you're talking like levels. He's got strength. He can get about the pitch. He reads the game. He's just so strong in that kind of, I don't know, like just like his body shape is just so strong. Like you just can't get around him. He's like a brick wall, like you said.
But I think he kind of comes across like that because of his reading of the game. Because he just always seems to be there, and it's not because he's just this big brick shit house. It's because he reads it so well. He knows where he's going. I think Lindelof as well. He cleared off the line for Dougie. That was a massive.
Yeah. Gaza says Lindelof.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lindelof had a massive.
Did he flag for a foul by Duran, or did he flag for Ollie being offside?
I think it was the offside by Ollie.
So it wouldn't have counted anyway.
But I think just in general, just being there, I think coming on and
I take that. I just think I didn't know whether the linesman had flagged for the foul on the keeper or not, because obviously to save it on the line like that was just incredible. To be fair,
you know who else is a bit of a shithouse who doesn't get the recognition for doing it that he deserves? Luke Shaw.
Yeah,
he loves winding everyone up. He's a proper shithouse as well. And I just look at that Man United team, and I went and watched them last week against Spurs, and watching them today, I feel like we could have beaten them. I think with a bit more energy in our team and a bit more industry, and maybe being able to make a couple of better subs, I still think we could have beat Man United today, which is what is so gutting. Obviously, in this chase to Europe, I feel like we could have beaten them and done the double over them as well this year, which would have been nice as well. But
yeah,
wasn't to be.
Exactly. AVFC US, Maguire being out helped them. Shaw's a better centre back. Faz said he felt Emmy's contact with the ball was soft. Having seen it back, that was harsh. He saves the follow up if it doesn't take a deflection. Yeah. Casemiro better than he thought. Better than Gary thought. Gaza said, how did he never get booked? Yeah, I think he definitely deserved the booking. It was one really bad challenge, but he just knows when to do it and how to get away from it. Casemiro gets stuck in. Would be nice if he'd been pulled up for a foul or two early on. Thought we had a chance when Maguire came on, said Gary. I
That's a good
think
comment.
even that with
I
like
like
1 minute to
that.
go. Yeah.
There's rumours about us buying Maguire for the summer.
Yeah, I know. Konsa was close to scoring too. Yeah, he blocked it on the line, I think.
He blocked it. He wasn't close
Yeah.
to scoring. He was just clearing in whatever box he was in. That's Constant's job.
Yeah.
He prevented a goal, if anything.
Absolutely. Just gonna get the stats up from the game, and I think again it kind of tells a story. Just having a brief look at it, but in terms of the game, 57% possession for Man United, 43 to us, 6 shots on target for United, only 1 for us, 7 shots, other shots for us, and 14 for United. Not 680 touches. We had 554 touches, 369 passes, 511. We had more corners. They had quite a few offsides, particularly in the first half. Again, it wasn't a great game, to be honest, Sam, was it? And I just think
I feel like
I get the impression that the players might be feeling like they left something on the pitch. They left, like you said before, like a couple of better subs, couple of better decisions here or there, and they've got something out of the game. And I get the nagging feeling that they'll probably think that they left something on the pitch.
I mean, I felt like there's quite a few performances in recent weeks where I've not felt like they were great performances. I think Brentford was poor. I think we were lucky to come away from there with all 3 points. I think Fulham was poor.
Point against Brentford.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, to come away with a point. I think Fulham was poor when we got the goal early. And I remember watching it, and the commentators were laughing, and they're like, "Surely you're not going to pass it back again." We just kept going back, and I think Fulham didn't have enough on the night, the same way that we didn't. And then again today, I worry that it is us running out of steam, but we just don't seem to have, like I said, I've said it about 100 times this podcast, just that cutting edge, that impetus to go forward and create something. We're not very creative. We had 1 shot on target. It was just a bit lame, and it has been a bit lame. But this is what I said earlier. It all starts with our defense. Our defense has been and remains strong, and that's why today Man United were restricted to 1 goal. And I feel like up front is where we're lacking, and I don't feel like they're letting down the defense, but I think with a better performance on the second third, and the final third of the pitch, I reckon that we'd have been cruising against Man United today. But there's just no creativity there. Like I say, Ollie Watkins wasn't involved at all. He didn't do anything special. Didn't have any good chances. Even McGinn, I think he's been really industrious over the last couple of games. But even today, McGinn looked a bit flat. And when he's tired, it's time to take a break.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. Obviously 3 goals conceded. It's now 4 goals in 11 games, which is fantastic, which is unreal.
Ridiculous.
And you're still going to be in the game, but I feel like the attack before, like up to that Newcastle game, that was the peak. That was a peak of the attack, and since then it's dropped. And I think Gary said the same thing. And it's telling that Louise has scored from a bit of a scrappy goal against Brentford. Tyrone Mings has scored from a corner, but I don't really remember Ollie Watkins having too many chances in the last 3 games. I don't remember Buendia having any chances in the last 3 games. I don't really remember Ramsey having a lot of great chances in the last 3 games. I know he had a shot that went over the bar against Brentford, and one that got deflected today, but I'm talking like real chances. Like I think McGinn's had maybe 1 other shot. I just don't recall them having too many. I don't recall us having a 1-on-1, like, and it's almost like the defense is that solid, foundation, and you just wait. You're waiting for something for the attackers to do, but they're almost having to perform above themselves. It's what you said about the standard of Ollie Watkins. They were having to perform above themselves to kind of get the goals. Now they're performing at their level. And they're back, and they're almost back to what we had before, where they're just that, that huffing and puffing and just that frustration.
I think it's a testament to Unai Emery, though, what he's got out of these players. Because I remember saying a million times on this podcast before, I said it's not a lack of effort; it's a lack of ability. And he's raised those levels where he's got more of a tune out of them. But I think also, look, Unai Emery is he's got tenure. He can do what he wants for the rest of his time at Villa. and without criticism at all. But I think, if I was to try and pick something out, is Villa are playing this slow moving football from the back, and it works really well especially when we're already on top. And I think sometimes we get caught out by playing it out the back. But I feel like with Unai Emery's Villa, we need another way to play. We need a quicker build up, because we take so long in pushing the ball up that whoever we're playing has time to sit back and get down. And that's when you're asking the most creativity out of your players. All right, they've got 11 men behind the ball, create something. And we're already talking about, we don't really have loads of creative outlets here. So how if we're playing the ball so slowly, are we supposed to do that? If you look at Spurs today against Liverpool, they don't have loads of creative outlets, but they hit on the counter and they move really quick. And even Jurgen Klopp said today, he said the only reason that Spurs were so competitive is because even when they were 3-0 down, they were waiting to play on the counter. And I'm not saying that that's what we should do, but we need to incorporate that into our game. We cannot have one strict style of playing, and that's how we're going to play no matter what. Because the best teams don't do that. They react and they change depending on how the game's going.
Yeah. Look, we don't want to go over the top, and Adamski sums it up. 1-0 away at Old Trafford isn't the worst scoreline.
No, not at all.
Rich said it was a wonderful run, but had to come to an end. We didn't get blasted off the park.
No.
April Showers says, we're on our arses. Fulham second half. The lads are tired. We'll be okay. And I do think there's a sense of that. And obviously, look, Wolves got beat. I know we're going to do a Wolves preview later on in the week, but just talk about it now a little bit now, because you want that next game to come, don't you? Want that next game
battered,
right? But they got battered yesterday to a Brighton team and made a lot of changes. Is it going to be sod's law that they'll turn up against Villa?
I reckon they did it on purpose, Rich. They must have. They're like, all right, we're going to give them the 3 points, and we're also going to boost their goal difference like you wouldn't believe. I think it's going to be tough. This is the game. Look, if we're talking about Europe and we're going to be really critical of ourselves and we're going to hold ourselves to a higher standard, we have to win at Wolves. That's a must win. We've got really tough games after that. Our final 3 are Liverpool, Spurs, and Brighton. It couldn't be more perfect for us because it's in our own hands. We're playing the teams that we're literally fighting with 3 teams for Europe: Spurs, Liverpool, and Brighton, and those are our next 3 games. So, our last 3 games. So, yeah, we've got to go and beat Wolves, and we'll do a proper roundup on it. But I mean, if they're losing 6-0 to Brighton, surely we're going to go there and get a result. I don't know. What do you reckon, Rich? We beat them?
I think we can definitely beat them, and I do think us having the week, as good as a week off this week. I think someone commented before, give the players a couple of days rest. I think Monday, Tuesday off, back in Wednesday, ready to go. A couple of players back fit. I think we'll be there. Sometimes, we didn't get battered today, like someone else said. It was 1-0, but Newcastle lost 3-0 against us and then got better after it. You kind of almost like waiting for that defeat to come, and then it's like, I don't know, like obviously you never want to get beat. That's not the thing that I'm saying, but it's just like sometimes it's just that kick up the backside and like, right, let's focus.
I think there's a
players
pressure
back.
Yeah,
we need to sort it out. Yeah,
there's a pressure on a run. There's a pressure on not going 20 games without not scoring. There's pressure on 10 games unbeaten. There's a lot of pressure, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that's gone now, and I feel like that the team themselves are not looking at any of that, because I remember last week when we beat Fulham, someone asked Jacob Ramsey or Ollie Watkins, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a stat." I think these are all cup finals now for us to get to
exactly.
Europe.
Yeah, they're just like.
Here's the question, Rich, for you. Yeah. 4 games left. The form of the other teams around us. Do we get into the top 6, top 7, or do we finish 8th?
I think we finished 7th.
Above 7th. Who?
Above Tottenham.
They've been playing terrible and they're scoring about 3 goals a game.
Yeah, they concede so many goals. I do think Brighton as well will come unstuck as well. I know they got a great result resting players against Wolves. Fantastic result. But 7 games in that. I think they've got 7 games to play or something like that. Have they?
They've
Or
got
6?
2 games in hand on us as well.
Yeah. Or maybe 6 games left now. But they've got a crazy schedule. I think they've got to play Newcastle, Man City, us. They've got some tough games, So I think they will lose games. They will 100% lose games. It's just how many points can we get? And I think I had us in 7th when we did the run in. I think I had us in 7th on like 61 or 62 points, and I still think that'll be just about enough.
I feel like we'll beat Wolves, and maybe it's the pessimist in me, and I think I've reverted back to type, and I don't want to hope and I don't want to expect. So I don't expect to get many points off of Brighton, Spurs, and Liverpool. So I reckon we get 4 more points out of our remaining 4 games, and I reckon we finish 8th. But you know what? Even if we finish
58, yeah.
Even if we finish 8th, we can still get into Europe if West Ham win the Europa Conference League.
I think someone put in a message that regardless of league position, 8th does not
all
get
right,
Europe.
Scratch that. There's no facts on the show, guys. That was waffle from me. But I reckon even if we finish 8th, it's a good season, and it's an incentive for the owners to go out and Unai Emery's shown what you can do now. He's like, this is what I did with the players that we've already had that weren't performing. Then go out and get me the players that I want. And I think either way, this season's been a massive success. I would love any type of European football, but because we've been so close to the top 6, I really want the Europa League. And watching it this season with the Romas and the Juventuses and Man United and Barcelona, all of these teams are in the Europa League this season. It would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be brilliant?
Amazing. Few comments. Duncan says 6th or 7th for me. Rich said first game we haven't scored. Don't panic. Adam says Spurs can outscore us and Brighton are a good team and they just need to win one of those games in hand and not lose to us. But AVFC US says Brighton have Man U, Everton, and they're at Arsenal, they're at Newcastle, Southampton, Man City, and then they're at Villa. So that's a lot of tough games there.
No one in that list has nothing to play for. Southampton, Everton, Man City, everyone's playing for something now. No one's on the beach.
Yeah. He has them getting 10 more points if we beat them, so they end on 59. Adam he said he got to agree with you, Sam, 8th. Gaza thinks we'll get 6 points. Rich says he's been saying it'll come down to the final day of the season at home to Brighton.
That would be mint. That would be brilliant. A European shootout at Villa Park.
Yeah. Top 10 after that shite start to the season is still very good.
Yeah.
T1's in the house, guys, late again. Don't worry. You can catch up. No worries at all. We'll get 6th and head into the final day. That 6 points from those 3, that's not bad. And then going into Brighton needing to win, I would take that all day. Absolutely. Jazz says, no Europe, not the end of the world. Whole season to attack with Unai. Not many will fancy coming to Villa next season. Big summer, onwards and upwards. We'll finish 7th or 8th. Gary says he has a dream. Let us know what it is, mate, while I go through some more of the comments. I think
we may all be having the same dream.
Yeah. Jazz mentioned that Ian was at the game, and he said the fans were fantastic again. And I could hear them on the TV.
I could hear them as well.
Yeah, brilliant fans as always. Sam, anything else you want to cover before we call it a night?
No, I think just to clarify again, obviously we pick apart the performance and stuff, but I don't think any of us could have expected this when Unai Emery came in. We're all living in La La Land talking about Europe and calculating points and whether I'm absolutely buzzing. And after Man United, I wasn't doom and gloom. I wasn't back to it like the old days. I'm still buzzing, and I can't believe we're even having the conversation. So I feel like we're all behind the boys, but I think it's good to. No one more than Unai Emery will be looking at our limitations and where it's going wrong. He'll know everything that we're talking about, and maybe disagrees with a lot of it. Who knows? But I think it's always good to have the conversation. But I'm still buzzing. 1-0 at Man United, and I feel hard done by. We'll take it, won't we?
Absolutely. A couple of questions coming in. We always get great questions from our viewers. So Rich says, how much does Emery get in the summer? Will it depend on the owners or sales?
It's going to be both. From what I've read, he'll get a war chest, but I think if he wants to supplement it, we're planning on getting rid of. From what I hear, some of the younger players, some of the players are on loan, which I am nervous about because I don't want to let a great talent go.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Cameron
I
Archer
agree.
goes on every podcast until he retires. I'm talking
Cameron
about
Archer.
it.
Cameron
I'm having it.
Archer.
Cameron having it.
Do you think we get money for like a Nakamba? Because he's doing
He's
really
done
well at
really
Luton.
well at Luton. He's done, and they're in the
They're
would it be
third or
third,
fourth, yeah.
fourth. I think they're absolutely killing it. They might come back to the Premier League next season. They might want to keep him. But Villa have a tendency of selling players that definitely have a value for no money. And I don't know if it's to get the wages off the books or what it is. But the players like Nakamba, Traore, he'll have caught some people's attention this season. Callum Chambers, he'd do well in the Championship. Maybe get a bit of money for him. The loanees that we've got out, the Eric Bonhams, the Archers, the Aaron Ramseys, all of them will fetch over 10 million. Archer probably about 20 plus, 25 million maybe. I mean, there's money to be made. Yeah, but Michael, we can't buy the kind of players that Man City bring in. So, we can't let go of a Jadon Sancho and then spend £100 million on Jack Grealish, Riyad Mahrez and Phil Foden and generate more talent like that. If we let a player like Cameron Archer go, that hits our bottom. That hits us.
Yeah. Rich says Archer, Ramsey and Tim keep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. Also, Gary, just changing tack a little bit. Relegation update.
Relegation.
What do you think?
Okay, so Southampton are down. In my opinion, well, no, I think they're pretty much down already. I think Everton will stay up. I think Leicester go down, and I think, unfortunately, Forest go down.
So you think Leeds are going to survive as well? They just got battered today.
They did get battered, but they're just so unpredictable, Leeds. They can have a really good game, beat a good team. The thing is, though, and I really dislike Leeds from our time in the Championship and the El Ghazi, Bamford, all this and that. But I was saying to my missus today, she said, don't you want Leeds to go down? You hate them. And I said, no. I said, we don't have any beef. We don't have any rivalry in this league. I want Leeds to stay up so that we can have a bit of, it's so pleasant with everyone. Which is, I like having a team that I really don't like in the league, and they're a massive club. Them, Forest, Everton, Leicester. I would have preferred it if someone like Bournemouth had gone down, but I guess people feel the same way about the top six. They don't like that normal top six being disturbed, and probably the same about the whole Premier League. We don't like teams like Bournemouth staying up for too long, and whoever stays up at the end of the season deserves it. But
yeah,
I really don't want Everton to go down. I think they're a massive club. They remind me of Villa so much. I'd like them to stay, but who knows?
Yeah. Duncan says Southampton, Leeds, and Everton for the drop. Rub P says hope Leicester stay for Smith. I think it's going to be Southampton, Leeds, and
Forest. You're going to go for it.
I fear for Forest. Yeah, I really do.
They've looked like winning games. I don't know. They've been so hard done by.
They beat Brighton in the week, didn't they? They beat Brighton 3-1, and then
they threw it away against
1-0. Like 4 minutes to go. They so remind me of Villa under Dean Smith when before the lockdown, when we were always looking like we were going to win a game, we just threw it away and we lost so many games by the odd goal, but then picked up a couple of like really good wins, and then we just like shut up shop for the last sort of 7 or 8 games of the season. But
they get nervous. But I feel like Forest, like when I watch them, they play good football.
Yeah.
And they've got really like Brennan Johnson, Gibbs White, that Danilo starting to pop up. I feel like they've got quality in that team. Well, they should do because they bought about 40 players. But I really like Nottingham Forest.
Me too. Me too. I've a lot of respect for them. If Gary says they're a big game tomorrow, Leicester versus Everton. Yeah, absolutely.
I think no matter what happens with that game, I think Leeds drop into the bottom 3. Forest drop into the bottom 3 no matter what happens in that game because of their goal difference. So
that's the tricky thing. Like I feel like if Leicester win that game and Everton get beat, I think Forest have got a chance to to get like to do it above Everton. I think Leeds are in real trouble. Southampton are down, and then it's I think Leicester will be all right, but I think then it's between Leeds and Everton. Forest and Everton. Sorry.
I think it's one of the most exciting Premier Leagues at both ends of the table that we've seen in a long, long time. You know, there's so many teams with still loads to play for, with like 4 games left. I mean, what is it? 15 games left to play for Brighton, but everyone else is about 4.
Yeah.
So I love it, and I'm just glad that we're at the right end, that we're fighting at the right end of the table, rather than how nice is it to not be even thinking about the bottom half of the table or relegation scrap.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
We'll take it.
Yeah, Gaza said Leeds of City, Newcastle, Spurs, and West Ham.
That's not good stuff. Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, like you said there, it's going to be mad, the relegation battle. We're still in this top 6 battle. I don't think we're in the top 4 battle anymore. But we're certainly in the top 6 battle, so we can definitely do it. I think win against Wolves, that gets the confidence back in the lads, and then 3 massive games to end the season. Sam, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for everyone in the chat. I love your comments, love your questions. You guys drive the show. Honestly, hit that like button. Yeah. Hit the subscribe button. Help us continue to grow. We're growing at a massive rate. It's phenomenal, like what you guys are helping us do at the moment. So please do continue to help the channel grow. If you want to become a member, I know there's 1 or 2 issues with it. Try and work it out. I think you can do it through the live chat, the $sign. There could be a join sign as well. $1.99 a month. Become a member, get your shout out, get access to exclusive members only prize draws. I think Michael's put in there that he's got a Cadbury's chocolate gift box set or something to give away or something like that. So we might be able to get in touch with him to get some chocolate to people or whatever. But obviously Villa related products as well. But yeah, amazing stuff. Sam, once again, thank you so much. On to Wolves next week. Let's get the 3 points. And as always, remember, you'll follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.